Good morning, students. Today is also a practical topic for you. That is detection of HIV and HPSAG in the lab, in our microbiology lab. How we detect HIV and HPSAG. We will discuss today. And this is an applied exercise part. This will be a question for you in your practical in the applied exercise section. Okay. So HIV and HPSAG, we detect in our lab by rapid tests. So what is the principle behind this rapid test? You have to know in this class today. So HIV, in the last class I told you about ELISA. And in ELISA, the uses of ELISA are we can test or we can diagnose antigens and antibodies to HIV, HPSAG, like that we discussed in ELISA topic. So we can do that test, but the disadvantage of performing ELISA in the lab is that it takes time. ELISA takes time, nearly 2 to 3 hours. That is time consuming, and sample load also should be more for performing ELISA. If the sample load is less, usually 96 tests are performed at a time. So if the sample load is not that heavy, we go with other tests. That is one cause where we proceed with rapid test. And the advantage of rapid test is it is the result is known in a less time. So within a half an hour, we can know the result. That is one advantage of doing this rapid test. So unlike HIV, unlike ELISA, there are other immunoassays. That means these rapid tests, which can be performed independent of lab equipment and deliver instant results. So they give instant results within half an hour, and they don't require any lab equipment. Equipment is not required. Only the test kits are required for performing the test. And these rapid tests are available in two formats, or they depend or they can be done based on two principles. One is lateral flow assay and the other one is flow through assay. Depending upon these two principles, the rapid tests for HIV and HPSAG are done in the lab. And these rapid tests are used for diagnosis of various diseases, not only HIV or HPSAG. They are also used for diagnosis of malaria, leptospirosis, Helicobacter pylori, syphilis, etc. And there are many other formats. Many other diseases also can be detected, like dengue, chikungunya, like that. Okay, different diseases can be diagnosed with this rapid test. And the principles for this rapid test, they are based on lateral flow assay and flow through assay. You have to know about these two principles of rapid test. So this is the rapid test kit that we use. It is called a cassette. This one is called cassette, and we check for the colored bands after performing the test to tell whether it is positive or negative. We look for these colored bands in the control region and in the test region. Okay, so this is the rapid test kit, which is in the form of a cassette. So first we'll discuss about the first principle, that is lateral flow assay. What is lateral flow assay? It is this test kit is a rapid test. I told you that it is completed in 30 minutes and it is used for detection of antigens and antibodies, and it is a one-step test. One-step test means here only we add the sample, or the patient serum is added here in this sample window. It is a single step test, and the test system consists of what is there in the cassette. In the cassette there will be nitrocellulose membrane. Here this white paper you can see in underneath the cassette, it is a nitrocellulose membrane, and an absorbent pad will be here in the later part. There will be a absorbent pad. And two formats are available. One is cassette and another one is strip. This is a single strip, nitrocellulose membrane strip, or the test format. Another one is cassette. So you can do either on this cassette form or on the strip form. The principle for this lateral flow immunoassay will be like ELISA only. So the principle is like ELISA. ELISA means what is the principle? It is an antigen antibody reaction. And in lateral flow assay, the principle is sandwich ELISA. The principle in lateral flow immunoassay is sandwich ELISA. What is sandwich ELISA? Antigen is captured between or sandwiched between two antibodies. That is the principle of sandwich ELISA. What is sandwich ELISA? The antigen that we need to detect from the patient sample that gets sandwiched between two antibodies. What will be the two antibodies? One is called the capture antibody, which is present in the test line. Capture antibody will be present in the test line. Another one is the labeled antibody or conjugated antibody. What is conjugated antibody? In ELISA, it is conjugated to an enzyme. Antibody conjugated to enzyme is there in ELISA, normal ELISA that we do. But here in lateral flow immunoassay, it is conjugated to a gold colloid. So it is conjugated not to an enzyme, but it is conjugated to gold colloid. So that is present here in the nitrocellulose membrane. In the initial step before the test line on the nitrocellulose membrane, that is present prior. What is that? Conjugated gold colloid conjugated antibody is present, and here capture antibody is present, and in the control line internal control antibody is present. Okay, in the control line what antibody is present? Internal control antibody is present. So now when we add the sample, antigen is present in the sample. That antigen will bind to conjugated antibody. What is that conjugated antibody? Gold colloid conjugated antibody and the antigen, they form a complex, and that complex will move further. And in the test line, what is present? What is present in the test line? Capture antibody is present. So the antigen and the colloid gold colloid and antibody, that complex, it will combine with the and capture antibody present in the test line. So the antigen is sandwiched. The patient sample containing the antigen, that antigen is sandwiched between gold colloid antibody and the capture antibody. That is the sandwich ELISA concept present in this lateral flow assay. And in the test line, what will happen in the control line next? This colloid antibody is there, no? Gold colloid conjugated antibody that will combine with the internal control antibody and it forms a colored band. So the gold colloid antibody and the internal control antibody present in the control line, they form a complex and they form a colored band in the control line. And any other remnant antibodies which are not conjugated or which are not bound, they are absorbed in the absorbent pad present next to the control line. That is the principle of lateral flow immunoassay, basing on concept is nothing but sandwich ELISA. The only difference is that here enzyme is not present. Antibody is conjugated to colloid gold. So in this picture you can see analyte means antigen, antigen present in the patient serum. Here you can see antibody conjugated to one yellow thing that is called the gold. So the labels can be gold colloid or fluorophore, can be the labels you can tag to antibody. That is called labeled antibody. Here the antibody is labeled to gold colloid. Here in the test line there is antibody. Only antibody is present in the test line. And in the control line, what is present? Antibody. This is called internal control IgG antibody. This antibody is internal control IgG antibody. So the sample moves in the lateral direction by the capillary flow. So the sample moves in the lateral direction. So when you add the test sample, antigen is present in the sample that will bind to this antigen. Red color one will bind to colloid gold antibody. So it is combining with colloid gold antibody. So it formed like this. The antigen is combined to colloid gold antibody. Next it will go to test line. What is there in the test line? What is this antibody? Capture antibody. So colloid, then it will bind to colloid capture antibody. So the antigen is sandwiched between colloid gold antibody and the capture antibody. This is the concept, that is the sandwich ELISA that is taking place in lateral flow immunoassay. And in the control line, what is happening? The colloid gold antibody will combine with the IgG antibody, and it gives a color. When these two combine, that is colloid gold antibody and the internal control antibody, when they both combine, it gives a color in the control line. And if the antigen is sandwiched between colloid gold antibody and the capture antibody, it gives a color line in the test line. Okay. This is another picture showing that this is the colloid gold antibody. The antigen is sandwiched between capture antibody and the colloid gold antibody in the test line. And what is happening in the control line? The colloid gold antibody is combining with the internal control antibody present in the control line. Okay? And any other unbound conjugates in the absorbent pad will be absorbed in the absorbent pad. So lateral flow assay, it is also called immunochromatographic test. Because some color is formed, colored bands are formed on the nitrocellulose membrane. It is called immunochromatographic test. It is based on lateral flow assay. So what is detected in the test band and in the control band? In the test band or in the test line, the antigen and the label antibody complex is immobilized by binding to the monoclonal antibody in the test line. So what is happening in the test line? Antigen and the labeled antibody complex is immobilized by binding to the monoclonal antibody present in the test line to form a colored band. This one, it is antigen is sandwiched between the labeled antibody and the monoclonal antibody in the test line. What is happening in control band? The free colloid gold labeled antibody can move further and binds to anti-human immunoglobulin to form a color control band. So in the control band, what is happening? The gold colloid antibody combines with the internal control antibody and it forms a color band. If the control band is not formed, then the test is considered invalid, irrespective of whether the test band is formed or not. Okay, so definitely to tell the test is positive or negative, irrespective of the test color band in the test region, you should get a color band in the control region also. That is compulsory to tell the test is valid. This is the principle given in the description like this. Dye labeled antibody, that is colloid gold antibody, specific for target antigen, is present on the lower end of the nitrocellular strip or in a plastic well provided with the strip. Antibody specific for the target antigen is bound to the strip in a thin test line. Either antibody specific for label antibody or antigen is bound to the control line. It is the principle. So now we have to, there are two tests that we detect by this lateral flow immunoassay or rapid test. One is HBsAg and the other one is HIV. What are the serological markers that we can detect with this rapid test? One is HBsAg, hepatitis B surface antigen, hepatitis B core antigen, and hepatitis B pre-core antigen. These are the three serological markers that we can detect with the rapid tests. Okay, but usually we use this HBsAg antigen kit. HBsAg, that means we detect the hepatitis B surface antigen. So these are the other serological markers. Other than surface antigen, what are the other serological markers that you detect for diagnosing hepatitis B infection? One is hepatitis B C antigen, hepatitis B core antigen, and another one is hepatitis B pre-core antigen or HBe antigen. Okay. So what is the test principle of hepatitis B infection? So once it is a one-step HBsAg colloid gold enhanced immunoassay that detects hepatitis B surface antigen in serum or plasma. The sample initially reacts with monoclonal antibody colloid gold conjugate on sample pad. So colloid gold conjugate is present on the sample pad. This mixture Antigen gets bind to the colloid gold conjugate and it migrates across the membrane by the capillary action and reacts with anti-HBs AG in test region. So in test region, what is present? Antibody to HBs AG. If sample contains hepatitis B surface antigen, a line will form on the membrane at this point, indicate positive result. So if the antigen is sandwiched between the colloid gold conjugate and the capture antibody, then a line will form on the test line. If antigen is not present, no line will form, indicating negative result. This mixture continues to flow on control area of a membrane and it should exhibit a color band of immunocomplex of both anti-mouse antibody. So in the control region also an antibody is present, that is internal control antibody, that is both anti-mouse antibody, which is IgG. Okay. So the test procedure, what is this test procedure? These all the items, the cassette, the dispenser, they are all provided in a pouch. So you should bring that sealed pouch to room temperature. Generally, we preserve that pouches in refrigerator. So before performing the test, you should bring that pouch and the contents in the pouch to room temperature. Then next step is you should open the pouch and remove the device or the cassette. And then next step is you have to dispense 2 drops of serum on the device. You have to pour 2 drops of serum in the sample pad area and wait for 15 minutes. Within 15 to 20 minutes, you first get the control band, and if the test is positive, you will get the test band also. So how will you interpret the result? Positive test means what? There should be a colored band in the control region and in the test region also you should have the colored band. When do you say that it is negative? If there is colored band only in the control region and no band in the test region, it is negative. The test is negative. When will you tell it is invalid? When there is a colored band in the test region and no band in the control region, the test is invalid. No line appear in the control or in the test region, it is called invalid test. Okay. What are the materials present in the pouch? One is test strip or test cassette. This is the cassette or card. It is called card or HPLC strip is present in the pouch. Dropper for dropping this sample, and one desiccant is also present in the pouch. These are the materials present in the HPLC kit pouch. Okay. This is the HEPA card test done in the laboratory, which is showing sample A is showing colored band in the control region and in the test region. So the test is positive to hepatitis B. And in the B sample, there is only colored band in the control region, no colored band in the test. So sample B is negative to hepatitis B. So this is the test done for hepatitis B in the laboratory, which is a rapid test, and it is called, what test is done for hepatitis B? It is called HEPA card test, which is a rapid test, and it is based on lateral flow immunoassay. What is the carrier state of hepatitis? So who is a carrier? Who is called a hepatitis carrier? Person with detectable HBs AG in the blood. Hepatitis B surface antigen is present in the blood for more than 6 months. Then the person will become a carrier. And there are 2 types of carrier. One is simple carrier, the other one is super carrier. Simple carrier will have low titers of HBs AG in his blood, and he is negative for hepatitis B E antigen, pre-core antigen, DNA polymerase, and hepatitis B virus. He is with low infectivity because all the other antigens and DNA polymerase are negative, and they are on the the HBs AG is in low titers. He is called simple carrier. He is less infectious than super carrier. Super carrier is highly infectious because he will have high titers of HBs AG in his blood along with HBe AG and DNA polymerase and HBV in circulation. and also the transaminase ALT levels will be also very high. And this supercarrier is highly infectious. This is called the carrier state. The carrier state of hepatitis means the person will be having HBsAg in his blood and without symptoms. He will not show any symptoms and he will carry this HBsAg antigen in his blood for more than 6 months without symptoms. He is called a carrier. So the next rapid test is based on another principle called flow-through assay. So this HIV test is based on this flow-through assay concept. The principle is almost the same. There is only one difference. There in a lateral flow assay, the sample will flow in a lateral direction. Okay, the sample is flowing in a lateral direction in a lateral flow assay. In a flow-through assay, the sample will be flowing vertically downwards. Okay, the sample will flow vertically downwards in a flow-through assay. And there is another difference with the conjugate used between lateral flow assay and flow-through assay. In flow-through assay, protein A is used for labeling the antibody instead of gold conjugate. In lateral flow assay, we use a gold conjugate to label the antibody, but in lateral flow assay, instead of gold conjugate, we use protein A is used instead of gold conjugate. Okay. So the flow-through assay tests are another type of rapid diagnostic test which differ from immunochromatography tests in two aspects. What is that? Protein A is used for labeling the antibody instead of gold conjugate, and the sample flows vertically down through the nitrocellulose membrane as compared to lateral flow in immunochromatography tests. And flow-through tests can be used for both antigen and antibody detection. HIV tri-dot, since there are 3 dots here, it is called HIV tri-dot test, is a classical example of flow-through assay. So HIV is detected by this tri-dot test. It is called HIV tri-dot. For hepatitis, it is called HEPACARD test. Here for HIV, it is called HIV tri-dot test. It is called HIV tri-dot test. And in this HIV tri-dot test, we can detect antibodies to HIV-1 and HIV-2 separately in patient serum. Test system is in a cassette form. So this box-like thing is there. No, it is called the cassette format, consisting of a nitrocellulose membrane and an absorbent pad. Inside there will be nitrocellulose membrane and an absorbent pad. So this is the cassette for HIV. One spot will be for control, here control, and there will be 2 other regions to detect antibodies to HIV-1 and HIV-2. So there are 2 regions to detect antibodies to HIV-1 and HIV-2. So here protein conjugate is used instead of gold conjugate, and this protein conjugate is there in the buffer. In the buffer provided along with the kit. In the kit, you will have buffer also. Along with the patient sample, you need to add buffer also. In that buffer, you will have this protein A conjugate. And the absorbent pad, initially it will have immobilized HIV antigen. In the HIV-1 and HIV-2 region, there will be immobilized HIV antigen initially. Before prior only, the pad is with the immobilized HIV antigen. HIV-1 antigen and HIV-2 antigen is present in the it is present immobilized in the nitrocellulose membrane. And after adding the patient sample or the patient serum, next step is you have to add the buffer also. In that buffer, there is a protein conjugate. So if patient serum is having antibody, if the patient serum is having antibody, it will combine with the protein A conjugate present in the buffer, and this complex will bind to the antigen present in the nitrocellulose membrane. Okay, and then it will give a colored spot in the HIV-1 region. Like that, same thing will happen in the HIV-2 region also. If the patient sample contains HIV-2 antibody, that will combine with the protein A conjugate present in the buffer, and then that complex will bind to the antigen present in the HIV2 region. Okay, then control region also, internal control antibody is present that will combine with what antigen present in the control region. So we'll see now here. The nitrocellulose membrane is coated at 3 regions, 2 test regions coated with HIV1 and HIV2 antigens, and a third control region coated with one antibody, that is internal control antibody or anti-human antibody. The sample and buffer reagents are added sequentially. So first you have to add the sample, next you have to add the buffer from the top, following which they pass through the membrane and excess fluid is absorbed into the underlying adsorbent pad. So below the nitrocellulose membrane there is adsorbent pad. As the patient sample passes through the membrane, HIV antibodies, if present, bind to the immobilized antigens present in the nitrocellulose membrane. That is the concept of flow-through assay. What is happening in test dot? Protein A conjugate present in the buffer binds to the antibody present in the HIV antibody present in the sample to give pinkish purple dot separately for HIV1 and HIV2 antibodies. What is happening to the control region or control dot? Irrespective of whether HIV antibodies are present or not in the sample, protein A present in the buffer can bind to the internal control antibody present in the control region. So protein A present in the buffer will bind to the internal control antibody present in the control region, and it will give a pinkish purple dot in the control region. So this is a TRIDOT test. What against which antigens are again you are detecting the antibodies. So for HIV1, you are detecting antibodies against 2 antigens, that is GP41 and GP120. So for HIV1, you are testing against GP41, antibodies against GP41 and GP120, and in HIV2 region, you are detecting antibodies against GP36. This is a TRIDOT test, is highly specific test. So HIV antibody links to the HIV antigen, forming a colored spot. Okay, and what is happening in the test region? HIV antibody is binding to the HIV antibody present in the patient sample is binding to the HIV antigen present already in the nitrocellulose membrane, forming a colored spot. An internal control antibody is there. Protein A binds to the internal control antibody and it is giving a colored spot in the control region. This is the principle of HIV TRIDOT. So patient may have HIV1 antibody or HIV2 antibody. So already in the adsorbent pad, there is an antigen. What is there in the adsorbent pad? Antigen, immobilized antigen is present, and this buffer will have protein A. What is there in the buffer? Protein A conjugate is present. So after adding the patient serum, and buffer, after adding patient sample and the buffer, this if the patient sample is having antibody, HIV antibody to 1 or 2, HIV1 antibody or HIV2 antibody, it will bind to the protein A. That complex will bind to the antigen present in the adsorbent pad. Okay, that is the principle of HIV TRIDOT. We get dots like this. For if it is it is called reactive or non-reactive. We don't tell it is positive or negative. For flow-through assay, we tell it is reactive to HIV or non-reactive to HIV. So when it is called reactive and when it is called non-reactive. When there is a colored spot only in the control region, it is called non-reactive. And when there is a colored spot along with control region in the HIV1 region, or in the colored spot in the HIV2 region, or both HIV1 and HIV2 colored spots are seen along with the control spot, it is reactive to HIV. And when there is no colored spot in the control region, the test is invalid. When there is a colored spot in the control region, you have to tell it is non-reactive. When the color spot is there in the HIV1, HIV2 and in the control region, you have to tell it is reactive. So this HIV tridot test or tridot ELISA test is a screening test. It is not a confirmatory test. It is a screening test. What is a confirmatory test? So you have to next proceed with the PCR test or Western blot assay. This is the confirmatory test for ELISA. Confirmatory test for ELISA is Western blot test. So all the positive tests should be confirmed with another test, usually with a confirmatory test that will be a Western blot assay or polymerase chain reaction. Reverse transcript RT-PCR you have to do. Negative samples need not proceed with the confirmatory test. All the positive samples or the positive test should proceed with the, you have to proceed with this confirmatory test, usually Western blot assay. What is this Western blot assay? It is designed to identify individuals who are not infected but who have reactive screening test results. It is highly specific or it has high specificity. Therefore, it will produce few false negative result. Okay, we can depend on this Western blot test result, and it is called a confirmatory test. What is window period in HIV? So what is window period? Initially, when the person is infected with HIV virus, antibodies are not formed in the first 20 days or up to 12 weeks. Antibodies are not seen in his serum. That is called the window period. So if antibodies are not present in the patient's serum, then how will you detect the how will you diagnose that patient is having HIV or not? So you have to do. You should not do this HIV tridot test because it will detect antibodies only. HIV tridot will detect antibodies to HIV. But in window period, antibodies are not formed. Only antigen is present and HIV RNA is present. So what test you have to do in the window period? In the window period, you have to do P24 antigen test. P24 antigen test should be done in the window period, or the HIV RNA can be detected with the help of a PCR test. Okay, PCR test can be done to detect this HIV RNA which is present in the window period, or you can proceed with the P24 antigen assay. In the window period, there will be no antibodies. Antibodies are formed after 20 days or after 12 weeks only. The antibodies start appearing in the patient's serum. Okay. So that is about the laboratory diagnosis of HIV and HBsAg, which is done with the help of rapid test kits. So for hepatitis, we use HepaCard test, and for HIV, we use HIV ELISA tridot. HIV tridot test we do for HIV in the laboratory. Okay. Thank you. That is about the applied access topic, HIV and HBsAg.